to be online, so I only teach in person. But he's right. If I do this once, I could put it all into class and then never be in person. But I'm fine being in person. I still like social work as an in-person degree. We recruited somebody from psychology yesterday to be a double major also, but he's just now starting
Oh,
because he wants a license when he's done.
I was just talking to do you know Dr. Hunt?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I was just talking
Is
to
she
her.
trying to convince you?
Yeah.
Of course.
Because I was asking her, I'm still weighing if I should declare it as a double major.
Right. She's like,
because-
do it. Just do it. Don't even think about it.
Yeah, 'cause she says, when you go to grad school, it's gonna take 10 months, and I'm like, well, I already transferred here, and so I don't feel like I kind of got the guidance that a traditional student would.
Well, and a lot of our people do not. I have a psychology undergraduate, if that tells you anything. I was unable to do a single thing with it that paid well. So I went straight into my MSW. It took me 67 hours. And if I had a BSW at Miami University, it's only 34 hours of graduate studies. It cuts it in half. So it's like your senior year is your first year of graduate school here because we're accredited. And that's why. And it's only 9 additional classes because you're going to take all the other ones in psych. You take everything in psych. Ready?
Well, I have sociology.
Pray about it. That's what we always say. Pray. You could triple major too. I mean, they all cross over. That's why it's like.
You're right. I do need to talk to the Lord a bit.
And you qualify for a license your last semester here. You can take the licensure exam, have a license, bill Medicare and Medicaid, and you just type in job openings. There's plenty since Affordable Care Act. Medicaid expansion, Medicare expansion, and a 1-year master's degree.
I guess I'm just weary because, I understand that like the route to education isn't linear as you'd like to.
It's not.
Like
I have 5 degrees.
I just feel weird because I took a pause because of my dad had a heart attack, and then right after that, I could not concentrate. So I went home. The semester I came back to school, the pandemic hit. I couldn't pay for my apartment and internet access, so I had to withdraw.
Yeah.
So it's I'm finally in a place where
at Central, right? This is all at Central. Okay.
Yeah. I got here in 2022, so January 2022 when I got to Central.
Okay.
So I was doing online classes, sporadically through at Eastern Michigan University.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice school, but it was all online, and I was part time, and then paying out of pocket too. So it was just really hard.
It is
hard.
hard.
I felt bad because I'm already older than a lot of people. Well, not too, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, I'm okay, well, I'm gonna graduate on the 26th, 25. So I don't know.
So you're already done with 60 hours. It sounds like that's good.
Over 60 and
90 yet?
Almost.
Okay.
85.
Okay.
So
yeah, we've had people also come back here 3 years after trying to get a job in the field with their psych degree, and then they come back and do those 9 classes in social work. So
it's
it's
9 classes.
I know.
Oh, it's just 9 classes.
They would count for all of your elective. That's what's because you can do both with 120 hours if you did it perfect. And that's why the dude downstairs was like, okay, wait, yeah, I'm doing it. Because you don't have to take 240 hours to get a double major. You take 120. You just need to make sure to have the check sheet. Have I already showed you all the check sheet? I'm sure that I have.
How can you actually email that to me so I can?
Sure. Why doesn't it want to open? I just updated this. But so yeah, sure. Let's go. Or if you send me an email, can you send me the check sheet? I will reply to that.
I can do that right now. I think I'm just not gonna look on campus because I can't.
Right. Well, and so the other piece is we just put together a thing with Miami University where they take our students. They're still letting our students apply right now for the fall, and they pay 70% of their tuition at Miami University for the MSW. It's ridiculous. So a $24,000 degree costs $8,000 for a master's. You'd have a master's in $8,000 if they keep that up through. Here's a check sheet. Okay. I just have old computers and they want to get pissed off. So I try to film on this one. I try to respond to my emails on this one, and then I pull up the PowerPoints on this one. But I think my computers are mad at me. You ever have a computer crash on you?
Oh,
Yeah.
It drives me insane. So, okay, I'll find something for you.
And then that's just J Trout.
Yes, it is. That's it.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah, and if it's terrible, you can always back out. But the amazing savings of time, money, and space to be a MSW, LSW, and get a. I know our job at hospice is $68,000 a year. I know the job at CareSource is $70,000 a year. That's high. So, yeah, I started streaming in here at 1 p.m. as I forgot this class is 1:30. I've had a 1 p.m. all semester. And so I turned on and I already showed the video of this and intro to social work and all that. That it's basically just the history of social work. So rooted in, like, if you are any of you all from Chicago or New York, which we all have these kind of slums, even Cincinnati had them. But this is where the child labor law kind of started. People wanting to advocate for the vulnerable. So it started with kids, actually. They had these child labor laws. You could work like 80 hours a week as a kid, but then you never got an education. That's all you're going to do the rest of your life. So,
The other two people was from Chicago.
oh, that's right. Yes. And they did email me, as I think he was just asking about the stream. So I'm live on Dr. Drouth at Central State. So if you guys need to watch it there, that's fine. People tell me to stop telling you all that because then they're like, nobody's going to come to your class. I'm like, I'll always be here, so that's okay. You're welcome. I see. Okay, here's your email.
Cool.
So social work basically is over 100 years old. So like the counseling profession is maybe like 60 years old. Psychology has been around for quite a while, but there's a big thing with advocacy in social work. I remember people telling me with my psych major, like, you sound more like a social worker. You lived in El Salvador and Nicaragua. And you should be a social worker. And I took offense to it at first. I'm like, no, not social work. I'm going to be a clinical psychologist. What are you talking about? And would get like sensitive, whatever. But so individual direct services to the poor, that's some of the stuff that it started with, the Charity Organization Society. The big movement, though, in Chicago was called the Settlement House Movement. So social activism designed to resolve problems of poverty, disease, prostitution, mental illness. Jane Addams is the mother of social work, and she started the Settlement House. So we didn't have anything in the university, though, until 1929. Well, there was 10 of them. And I'm going to pull this video back up because it's only about 12 minutes. And it's pretty legit how they started, because social work in general has been, oh, I forgot I switched computers. That's what happened.
We have all three connected to me.
If I do that, yeah, I can go.
Oh,
It's the C drive. Yeah, because I was showing it before on, I think, shoot, I should know. Intro, social work beginnings. I should know what I searched because it popped right up when I searched it. That would be it. Okay. It was a brief history of social work. So 14 minutes. I undercut it by 2. So this gives you kind of the whole spiel and all the.
It's time for me to get set up for therapy, and I use this room as my
Of course
office, but the desk is over here. And so when I'm seated at the
They need
desk,
to advertise.
one connected to the other. Our country is vibrant and strong because it has been woven from people's stories into a compelling narrative of struggle, renewal, and success. The social work profession has a distinguished history of not only providing social safety nets to the most vulnerable, but also challenging systems that impede social mobility. Resiliency and determination alone cannot overcome all crises, but weaving those strengths with targeted advocacy often can. This presentation is a journey through the pioneers of social work who wove the first threads of resiliency and advocacy into the fabric of our profession.
If there is a hub around which the social work universe turns, it is Jane Addams, a leading social reformer of her day and lifelong champion of social justice. In 1889, she founded Hull House in Chicago, part of the settlement house movement dedicated to giving immigrants and other marginalized people in the cities access to health care, education, sports activities, and political power. Settlements focused more on the causes of poverty than on the flaws of the poor. Some of the social problems addressed were infant mortality, factory working conditions, housing and sanitation conditions, and truancy. Some of these investigations led to social policy. Throughout her life, she threw her energies into such activities as gaining the vote for women and the international peace movement. She was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1931, the first given to a woman, though in the United States, her pacifist views gained her the reputation of being one of the most dangerous women in the country.
I think she was a senator's daughter. I could be wrong, but
Mary Richmond's research on poverty and other social ills in her book, The Social Diagnosis, formed the basis of social casework, or what we would today call person-centered care. World War I provided unique opportunities for social caseworkers through their work in war-related activities, such as the Red Cross's home service. Led by Mary Richmond, caseworkers applied their skills to problems faced by servicemen and their families. Richmond's most important contribution was her insistence that care was a partnership, where the social worker would work with people's strengths to craft appropriate responses to a person's needs. Before Florence Kelly began her work in 1899 at the Henry Street Settlement on New York's Lower East Side, she cut her teeth with Addams at Hull House, where she surveyed working conditions in local factories. Her research led Illinois to pass the first factory law prohibiting children under 14 from being employed. In New York, she became secretary of the National Consumers League, responsible for introducing the white label designation, which was granted to employers that followed labor laws and safety standards. She also led campaigns that resulted in the Pure Food and Drug Act of 1906, which regulated working hours and minimum wage. She established the National Child Labor Committee, and her signature accomplishment was the creation of several organizations that set up federal-state partnerships to combat maternal and infant mortality and better the lives of children.
some of them lived 100 years, so they're getting to those ladies.
Robert Hunter came from the Chicago Hull House to join University Settlement in New York, where he headed Florence Kelly's National Child Labor Committee and commissioned Louis W. Hine to photograph child labor in America, which Hine did from 1908 to 1912. Hunter's employment of Hine led to one of the most recognized set of images in American culture. The young people in Hines's photos give a stark and uncompromising picture of the way the economic system used anyone of any age to generate its profits. And these pictures helped galvanize many states into passing laws banning child labor. It took the federal government until 1938 to do the same thing.
I'm sorry, I have a quick question.
Sure.
So is it, I keep hearing Hull or Hall? Is it Hall?
Hull House. Hall House.
So was the beginning just generally focused on like child welfare? So
It
just-
seems that a lot of them, there's another video that's very specific to Chicago and immigrants mostly. So a lot of immigration stuff that came up too.
okay. So
um,
just like for the most part, Chicago is based on like, well, a lot of the work that they're doing is just getting children out of the workforce at that time.
Yeah, I know that they started with the 40-hour work week was a piece of that. The child labor law, where probably you have to be like 14 to have your parents sign you in to be a worker. Do they still do that? They didn't.
I don't know.
Like,
I
were you
think
allowed to
some
work earlier than
states-
that?
I feel like I've heard of some states allowing it.
Like, if it's a family business, I think they do let your kids work because it's your choice, but you can't work for like a corporation. So it did start with that. Then it moved more quickly to civil rights movement, obviously in the 60s, and then
Oh,
all of the above. But we're talking, this was 1910 when they still had silver dimes as money. So it's like,
so at what point, I don't know if this is related to social work, I think it is,
mhm,
where, so like where there were, I don't know, was it because of the war, but there was a lot of like displaced children, so like a lot of orphans. And
true.
then they did like this train thing, where
Mhm.
they brought children into, I guess, was that when they started to establish orphanages?
That sounds about right. I could see orphanages being a big part of it. The Hall House would have had family sections. There's several of these videos. This is the one that came up first, but one of them does go into Chicago more specifically. And because there's so many injustice issues in general as we see today, like there's still, so many. They probably didn't know where to start, but that was definitely the one that they started with, like that took and had traction. Like they probably shouldn't be working at 9 for 80 hours a week, or maybe they, that's kind of where it started. And then as things moved forward, which they'll say in kind of the latter half of this, that's when they took off. No,
Is
you're
there-
fine.
Do we have a link to this?
I could put it into D2L very, very certainly. Actually, it probably has. It'll probably pop up. These things sometimes share.
Edda
Yeah,
Wheeler
it's-
brought the first case against child abuse in the United States in 1874. The child was Mary Ellen Wilson. At that time, there were no laws against child abuse, and although she went to the police, the courts, and the church, nobody listened. So she met Henry Berg of the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, who became an ally in her efforts. Wheeler gathered documentation on the abuse and recruited witnesses. Berg contacted New York Times reporters, who published detailed accounts and pictures of the
It's a
abuse.
rough house.
Mary Ellen was removed from her parents' custody, and her case led to the creation of the New York Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children, the first protection agency in the world. Later in life, Mary Ellen got married, had 2 children, and later adopted an orphaned girl. She died in 1956 at 92. The Great Depression gave the social work profession a national stage. The American Association of Social Workers testified before the Senate on the gravity of the crisis, and many people who began their careers in settlements now moved into public service, such as Frances Perkins, who became Secretary of Labor, Molly Dewson, a political organizer for the Democratic Party, Aubrey Williams, Assistant Federal Relief Administrator, and Harry Hopkins, an architect of FDR's New Deal. Social work's influence also changed cultural attitudes about poverty and misfortune. Before the Great Depression, most people thought of welfare as something poor people received from mostly private charities. After the Depression, providing welfare for American
That's what I was going to say. A lot of social work before, and maybe I'll phrase it as a question, where do you think most of the social workers came from before social workers? I already
You guys
know.
go visit
Oh, no, not you guys.
Sarah's letting us in.
Oh, no. Hi.
Oh,
How you guys doing? Mhm. Christine, my wife, Isabel, and James are the Irish twins. Are you guys Irish or something? You got
She's
your
also-
buckle on?
She's also a Central State student.
And she's a Central
Oh,
State
yeah.
student.
Yeah.
And then
Online.
Thomas is the newest baby. So I was just sending you the link to.
I got to meet Sonia Hunt outside.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
How is she? Hi. You want to go say hi to everybody?
She's all excited.
Here, go introduce yourself. You want to go introduce yourself?
Hi guys. Are you
So I'm
also
going
in
to-
school? Are you guys learning anything today?
Isabel's gonna go soon in August.
Yay.
First
Wow.
preschool.
We were just talking about the first child labor laws. That's how.
Oh, Simone.
Hey,
What's that?
3 years
how's
old.
it
Simone.
going?
That's true. How is it in Dominican? Can you work as a child?
Oh, are you gonna sit by us?
Obviously, labor laws are different. There are some, there is a social work system that does make sure that kids
You
are being.
determined. Oh, hey! I
Oh,
come
you
to
want to
sit
sit
by
up here?
us.
You also have the opposite in that country where a lot of
Yeah,
people come from.
He is a riot.
I'm distracted.
You figured-
I think your class is distracted.
Oh, jeez.
He's convincing me to get you guys out of here early, which I understand.
It's beautiful outside.
Boss
You want to
spoke
cut your
right.
finger open, dude?
Don't cut your tongue. I know. Oh, we gotta go get your drinks. That's why we came up here. was to
Yeah,
get
go
your
get your
waters.
drinks.
Go
Oh, you're
get
gonna
your
sit
waters?
and hide behind me.
Yeah,
She's
you're
the
in
Mac and
oldest.
cheese.
You sleeping, Thomas?
He's like, nope, I'm about to.
You look stoned. Look at him. You okay, dude?
He's like, good
Um,
baby.
So, oh, there's the announcement. Okay, so there's the link to this.
Well, I'll
I
have a
think that we
reading
really
of
should
it.
take this.
Okay.
can.
This one, is he cutting his tongue? You slicing your tongue
He's,
open, dude?
Picking off the top part, so if that moves, the really sharp part is exposed.
Oh,
James, we have more drinks. Go get it from your mom. Say, here, mom, give me more
Can I
drinks.
throw this away for you?
he said, there's still
We're gonna have to
more.
call your caseworker if you cut your tongue.
Read or weekend.
241 kids, right, Isabel? She's like,
There it go, yep.
so you turned 2 on May 10th.
Oh,
You turned 3 on June 14th, 5 days before my birthday on Juneteenth.
yeah.
And then
Oh,
Thomas is New Year's Eve. I don't even know
Oh,
what date that is.
wow.
Yeah. So they're 2.5 years between the three of them.
He's missing.
all the little.
I know, he doesn't even give a here, dude. 'Cause he will complain about it. Nice work, James. Nice work.
Was it good?
Can I get a high five?
Yeah, give him a high five.
High
Fist
five.
bump too. Go bump.
Fist
Bump.
bump.
Here, fist bump. Here, go give him a
Fist
fist
bump.
bump.
Yeah. Oh.
Go give him a fist bump.
He's like, I'm tired.
It's a fact they just pull.
There is one video my friend sent me that he's infatuated with these little things too, by the way. See? I'm glad I got that announcement out. How you doing?
She said it.
Right. You gonna fall? James, I'm gonna find the Cookie Monster video that has your favorite buddy on. 2 shots of vodka. That's what it was. It was hilarious. So I sent the video to you as I wondered if when the chair says, I think you need to let your class out early. Sometimes you're like, yes. All right, let me see if I can find your favorite person, James. Ready?
So what's your wife's major?
Her major is IDS,
I don't know what that is.
international interdisciplinary studies.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So,
12 fiberglass windows tested for extremes design.
because that means you can like piece together. She's been at like several universities. James, I want to show you your favorite person real fast. You ready? I think it's from Orange is the New Black.
I love
And
that. On Netflix, 2 shots.
people like,
Oh, yeah.
they're like, that's 2 shots.
Oh, that's from Young Spirit Straight.
Is
That
it?
TV show.
James, look, there's your favorite person. She goes like this. And now he does it. He goes,
2 shots of vodka.
is that really 2 shots? 1, 2, 3, 4. There's Cookie
2
Monster.
shots of vodka.
He likes the Orange is the New Black person. There. James, how does that one go? Like this, ready?
That person's from Beyond Scared Straight.
So it's not Orange is
It's
the
not
New
Orange is the New
I mean, they're both
Perdomo told me it was from Orange is the New Black.
I
So
mean,
that's,
it's jail, but that's real life.
Yeah, that's the real life jail.
oh, it is for real.
Orange is the
Okay.
New Black is like,
See, watch.
what do they call it? It's like a black-
James, go like this. Go like this. James, go. You want to do it again?
That's how I was like,
Go.
hmm.
He's infatuated with the double screen or triple screen, as I like never let him.
I'm giving her cookies.
So my promise was to answer any questions about the short 2-page paper. If you
The
had
what paper?
the short 2-page paper, that's like
Is he
What
calling
is that do?
probably
What is that?
the paper due on the 30th.
I don't have no questions right now.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure I
You're like,
will.
when I started doing it midnight the day
Yeah.
before, I promise you, that's fine. That's
And I
fine.
prefer to turn in my papers in person. I don't really do tech savvy things. So like I will